All right, guys. Give me just 1 second. Lauren, okay, you can hear me. Awesome.
Yep. Can you hear me, Ryan?
Yep, I sure can.
Great.
Perfect. Well, hey, everybody. Thanks for joining. Welcome. My name is Ryan. I'm going to be joined by Lauren today. We are from the Bridge team going to be taking you through managing your team on the platform. So we've done a couple of these previously, basic building stuff, increasing your speed of building, the phone, and we wanted to give you just a couple more things here from kind of an athlete management or user management perspective, some things you can do and some things that may be a little bit hidden at first, but will help you to continue to build and to use the platform to its full extent. So what we're going to do first is I'm going to pull up my screen. Let me see here. So, all right. Lauren, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is just go through and show you guys a few basics that'll help us as we move through this. So I'm going to start by adding a team. So this is going to be my home page. You know, I've got my established teams here, but if I want to create a new team, I'll go over here, just click on add team. I'll simply type in the name. So let's see. So the Pinehurst Patriots, and we'll just be a basketball team. Now, anytime you enter stuff in here, you want to make sure that you kind of double click, double stamp this green check so that it saves. You'll get this message confirming that you've added your team. So now once I've done that, I can see as the user, as an administrator to this account, these are the teams that I've created inside this organization. So the organization is BridgeAthletic Performance. And within that, these are my teams. Now I could look at all the other teams as well, but to shortcut to the ones that just pertain to me, this would be the screen that I want to pull up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to add athletes to my team. So there's a couple of ways that I can do that. All right, so if I click in here, first thing I want to show you actually is before we switch over, I just want to show you, so let's say I typed that name in wrong, I misspelled it. I can always, if I hover over these, I can edit the names. So if I click here, now I have the option to, I don't know, again, I'll just say Patriots again, but let's say I misspelled it. And then I could change the team if I wanted to, and then confirm with the green check. I can also at any time I can remove any of these teams. So for instance, the team I created for a webinar previously, I could come in and click remove, and it's simply going to ask you to retype that team name to confirm that you want to delete it. Click delete, and it will delete that team. So that's how you kind of manage your teams. But if I want to add athletes to this team, so this Pinehurst Patriots team, if I click into it, I'll be taken to the team page. So obviously I don't have any metrics, any data, any athletes. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to click, actually I'm going to click add athlete. So if I click add athlete, it's going to take me to this page here. So I can manually enter in a name. So let's call it, oh, we already got a Steve Smith. We'll call him Steve Jones. And his email .com. Okay, so I can manually enter that. If I want to enter more stuff about him, I can do that here, but I will just double stamp here, confirm with the green check. And then the other way that you can do it is upload athletes via CSV. So if I click on this, it's going to give me this nice 3-step instruction here of I can have the file that the system needs sent to me by clicking here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to switch over so that you guys can see what that looks like. So hopefully you can see here now, this is just a copy of what that that will look like. So I can input my names, first name, last name, the email address, their height, weight, gender, birth date, jersey number, all of that stuff. So once that entered in, then I save that and I come back to this screen and I go upload athlete CSV, and you'll see this pops up. And what I need to do is I need to find the form. So webinar athlete template, open. Now that CSV upload is successful. And when I open this up, I have these other athletes here. So I added Steve Jones manually, but I added the rest of these athletes via that CSV. And then one thing I will tell you, because I have made this mistake, do not leave this page without clicking the confirmed green check down here. Without that, you will lose that. So if I click those, now those people are added to my roster on my team, the Pinehurst Patriots. So having done that, the next thing I will do is I will go over to, I'm actually going to go to a different team because I want to pull up one that has a little bit more data. So if we go to like our Alcatraz team, so here you'll see I've got rosters, I've got athletes that have been doing training, and we've covered all this stuff in much greater detail in previous webinars. So please go on the YouTube page or check your email. We've sent these out to you guys. You can go back and review the finer details of a lot of the stuff on this page. But for us, what we're concerned about mostly is, for now, I want to look at the attendance. So how do I track attendance? So what I can do is if I click into See All, I pull up my roster. So I've got all of my athletes here. And then you'll notice that I'm looking at their attendance as it pertains to the current phase that they're on. So all I need to do is hit this drop down, and I can just pull up a custom date range, or maybe in the last month or the last week. You know, maybe if I want to pull up, you know, what's their attendance been like since, let's say, since March 1st until today. And now that's going to pull up all of my different things. Now, if for whatever reason, maybe I want to export that, maybe I want to create some reporting that revolves around my attendance, I can simply come up here to the three dots up at the top and pull this drop down menu up. So from that, I'll be able to add an athlete, add a coach. I could print a workout, I could print the roster, or I could export the attendance here. So if I click on export attendance, it's going to ask me for that start date range, and then it's going to send me that information. Okay, so very easy for you to pull up that attendance stuff if you need to. Also with that, and I apologize because I am going to jump back over one more time because I want to show you something in terms of if there's issues with, let's say, you sent out invitations to your athletes and they're saying, hey, coach, I haven't gotten it, I don't see it. What you can do here is, if you're on that team page, and the reason I came back here is because we obviously just added these people, so they've not had a chance to receive that information and accept my invitation to join my Bridge team. So if I come up here and I switch this team report drop down to their basic information, it's going to pull up all of these things. And what you'll see is, if I hover over them and we look to the side, I've got folks that have accepted that invitation and others who have not. So if they have not accepted it and they're telling you, hey, coach, I haven't gotten the invitation yet, it may be that you input their email wrong, or maybe they gave you the wrong email address. So all you have to do is, you can try the first time, maybe you hit resend and send them another invitation. So now Stephen Brown has gotten a second invitation. Maybe he says, coach, I still haven't gotten it. Well, then maybe you want to come over here and go to edit information. And anybody who has not accepted an invite from you yet, you can change the email address that they have in the system. Once they accept that invitation for security and privacy reasons, they are the only ones that can change that address. I guess the other option would be you could email into support@bridgeathletic.com and they can reset that password for you from the other end if you need it. But otherwise, An accepted invitation means that they will have to go in on their own and change that email address. Okay, so maybe I make a couple of changes here. I click again to lock that in. I can also remove any athletes from this, even if they've accepted invitations. So maybe if Steve Guerra here leaves, or goes to another team, or I'm not working with him anymore, I could click here and I could remove him from my roster. Okay, so those are the new things, or the intricacies that we wanted to show you in terms of athletes, creating teams, kind of roster management stuff. The next thing we wanted to move on to in terms of kind of athlete management and looking at your data, manipulating your data, is the leaderboard. So, we go back to the home page here for the team. And as we move down, we'll click into our leaderboards and test results. So this can be a very interesting page, and there's a lot of options here that I don't think people really see or understand or look into very much. And so the first thing that I want to tell you is everything on this page is completely flexible, modifiable, adjustable. So there are 9 spots here for 9 different exercises. Those can be from the Exos library. They can be exercises that you have added. They can be everything from strength exercises to sprint times, things like that. So I could have, for a period of whatever time, these could be the 9 things that I'm tracking. And maybe if I want to change that, I come up here to the top and I click on Edit Parameters and Members. And now it'll bring me to this pop-up window where I can modify what exercises I'm looking at, as well as what members I want to focus on. So right now we're just focused on all the members that are part of this team, and these are the exercises that we're tracking. But let's say, for instance, because if I kind of look in the back there, actually I'm going to close it out, that bench press dumbbell, we've only got 1 person right now, so maybe I want to remove that. So I'm going to X out that one, and then I'm going to go to the top and I'm going to click Edit. So what that's going to allow me to do is that's going to allow me to pick other exercises. And then the other kind of hidden gem here is I can also pull up the readiness questionnaire, that performance log. So now I can post this up on a TV, or I can share it through the tablet, and I can show people, hey, who is leading in hours of sleep, or who is leading in their nutrition review, or any of these things that they are filling out. So if I pull this up and I say, hey, maybe I want to see the weights. All right, so I'm going to add body weight. All right, so now I've added body weight as a metric, and I hit save. But what that is going to do, let's do this. Go edit, go back. Let's actually let's see if it's something to do with that body weight. So if I go hours of sleep and save, here we go. So now I've got my metrics, and I've also included hours of sleep here. So just something kind of cool there, where if you want to pull in parts of that performance log, you can do that and look at other things besides just sets and reps and strength numbers. On that topic, any of these things from a strength perspective, so like this barbell back squat, if you click on the three dots here, you can switch these over to body weight ratios as well. So super helpful if you're looking for stuff with youth athletes, or maybe you have an athlete that wants to move up in exercises or degree of difficulty. Now you can pull up this data that shows them whether you think they're ready or not, and that can back up your decisions. And it also shows everybody, hey, who pound for pound is the strongest in this particular exercise. Okay. Along those lines, up at the top, I can also switch this from it showing the top 10 members to the top 5. I could show all members, and then I can adjust the date ranges that I want to pull these metrics in from as well. So a lot of different things that I can play around with on this. Okay. Lauren, is there anything, I know I've been talking for a while, is there anything up to this point that I've missed or that we need to highlight that we've covered?
Nope, I don't think so. I think this has all made sense so far. I just wanted to add, for our attendees, if you guys have any questions that come up as we're going through this, feel free to send it in on the chat. We'll have some time at the end and we can answer any of the questions that you have, and I can also respond back as Ryan's going through this if anything's a little confusing, if you want us to go over anything, or you have follow-up questions.
Yeah, great points, Lauren. While we're sitting on this page, before I jump out of this, I also wanted to click into test results up here at the top. And we have, we don't have great data from this in this specific example, but this is another way for you to view important stuff from the past few months. Let's say, here's the exercise. So we're looking at the barbell deadlift. I could change this to different data sets that I'm looking at. I can look at it in different time lengths. I could look for max or mins or means or medians. And then to the side, I can also enter more data. Okay, so I know this is an option from the tablet, but you can also click here, and now I can start entering in new testing numbers and new testing information. So I can switch the exercise up here if I want to. I can tell the system I'm testing for 1 rep max in pounds. I'm also testing for or maybe I'm testing for max weight, and we did and reps. I hit choose athletes. I pick all my different athletes. I hit next, and now I can go in and I can fill in the max weight they did here. So maybe it's 125 for 3, 185 for 5, 205 for 1. So you can see it's kind of doing these calculations for me as I enter in the data. So let me just a couple more here. And all right, so now it's date stamped them. I could change those if I wanted to. The other thing I could, if these were all 3 reps, once I click that, I could hit apply to all. So it saves you some clicking there as well. And I hit save, and now I've got data for those people. And I can go back and create another test, or I can go back to their team page. So that's just how you can use that leaderboard and test results page there. The other thing while we're on this team page that we wanted to highlight real quick is just this window here. So this is a neat window, just kind of a quick once over check for you so that you can see all the different programs that you have going on. You can also hover over these to see which users are on that program. So I've got 19 users on Megan's Summer 2020. Once I hover over, I can scroll up and down to see all the names of those people. So very easy to check on that, see who's doing what. If I needed to jump into the program, I could do that as well from this little window on the team page. All right. If I move over to the side, we've highlighted this a couple times, but we really just want to make sure that people know exactly where to find this stuff. So the messaging component. So, we've talked about the coaches room where you and your staff, your other coaches can communicate with each other about the athletes you're working with. The athletes room is where you're going to receive those videos, those comments from the athletes. You can comment back. But if you want to send team messaging or individual messaging out on your own, up here at the top, if I click add comment, now it's going to pull me into the Alcatraz team. And if, I could say big lift tomorrow, get ready. Okay, I hit that. Now that's going to be sent out to everybody on the team. If I want to send out messaging to a specific individual, I just click on the drop down arrow here, and now I can find the specific person that I want to reach. Okay, so it's kind of hiding up there in the corner, but that's where you would go to send and receive and view all of the messaging that's going on between you and your athletes and your staff. The next thing we are going to jump into that's part of this kind of managing your team, managing your data, is down here at the bottom. Okay, so here are where all of your assessments live. I'm going to gloss over some of these. So if I see click all, now I can pull up all of the assessments I've done with this team, here recently. So the two most common that you guys are going to see are the performance log and the post-workout log. All right, and what I want to highlight is if I go to the performance log here from the 19th, now the reason I'm going to that is because I had a great response rate on that data. I had 40% of my athletes log their performance stuff on that date. So if I click into it, it's going to give me all their individual entries, but it's also here at the bottom going to give me those team averages. So I can use this information to say, hey guys, on the 19th, I'm sorry, you guys reported a 7 out of 10 in soreness. Maybe because that information is all going to come in real time. So maybe that drives my decision making for the program I'm going to send out on the 20th of May, on the 21st, because of that high overall team average in soreness. Or maybe I want to speak to them about the fact that we're getting 7 hours of sleep, or they're rating their quality of sleep as 7. All of these things, actually they're reporting 6.5 almost hours of sleep. So maybe we want to talk to them about the importance of getting those 8 hours, things like that. But this is how you use this information to guide your decisions and to create conversation pieces with your clients and with your athletes. And if you notice, if I hover over any of these, I can come over, I can delete those entries if they're just totally off and wrong. Or if I know someone entered something incorrectly, I can click the pencil, I can go in and I can modify these, maybe modify their body weight, hit save, and make sure that data is up to date and accurate. So that's the assessment model. The last thing that we are going to cover is kind of from the programming side. So if I jump back into my team and I want to pick an athlete, I am, let's see, going to go to Denise, and it's going to take me to her page. So please reference previous webinars so that you understand everything that's on this page and where to find it. I'm going to switch over. This person's got a couple of different programs going on. I'm going to look at Megan Summer 2020, and that's going to allow me to pull up the programming that she's done. And what you'll see here is if I actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click back because I want to show you guys something here. So as you're reviewing your athletes' workouts, you'll see there's a green check there, and there may be a green dot there like there was in the other one, and there may be a red dot. So a red dot underneath workout means that they missed that workout. Okay, a green check means that they completed all aspects of that workout. A green dot means that they started that workout, but it is incomplete. Okay, so there's a green dot. So what I can do is if I click into the workout itself, I can review everything they did. And then I myself, if they actually did finish this, I can mark it as completed. Okay, so now it should show up as a green check. All right, so that's how you can go through review workouts and make sure things are completed and close them out so that you're able to collect all that data, make sure everything in there is accurate. So I'm going to pause there. That's a lot of what we wanted to show you guys today. Some of those intricacies, some of those maybe hard to find areas that can be very helpful in sending out programming and monitoring your athletes' progress. So Lauren, I will open it up to you if there's anything I missed, and then we can answer some questions.
Great. So just one thing I wanted to highlight on the calendar here. As you saw, Ryan toggled between some programs for this team or for this athlete on this team. That is just a feature that we have for our tracker accounts. So if you're on our personal trainer or remote for schools package, in order to have multiple active programs, the athlete will need to be on 2 different teams. And on the app, they can easily toggle back and forth, and you'll just go into their different teams to review the workouts. Additionally, we haven't had any questions come in yet, but I had a few prepared that I've been getting more frequently into our support center that I just wanted to highlight in case you all had the same questions. First, people have been asking about teams, specifically if you're a personal trainer and you don't categorize your clients in teams. It could be a little bit confusing to see this language used. On our system, we use teams as a way to just organize your athletes and clients. So if you have a certain group training for a goal, a certain type of training, you can put them in one team, or you can have all of your clients in one team. It's really just from an organization standpoint of how you want to categorize and have the different clients separated within Bridge. Clients can't see each other. They don't know who they're in a team with. They don't know if they're in a team alone or with 5 other people. So it's really just on your end, but they do see the team name at the top of their app. So that's just one question we've been getting a little bit more frequently. Second question is around removing athletes. So Ryan did a great point of highlighting how you can easily just remove an athlete off of your team roster. You can also do it down here where he is on the members module. So there's 2 levels of removing an athlete. You can remove an athlete strictly from your roster. Let's say an athlete's on 2 different teams and they no longer need to be on team A. They're doing all their training on team B. You can remove them from the roster on team A, but they'll still have access to team B. So here's a way you can easily toggle between the teams an athlete has access to. Another option is if the athlete is just no longer training with your organization, is to deactivate them. So as Ryan just did, he hovered over in the members module on the far right, you can click deactivate. This will remove them from the organization. So when they log in on their app, they won't have any access. However, if they do decide to come back and train with you later on, you can reactivate them and all of their data stays stored in the system. So deactivating an athlete doesn't remove all the data or lose data. So this is another great way to manage your numbers within Bridge, especially if someone, let's say, is just training with you for the summer, they go back to school maybe, and then you need to reactivate them the following summer and you don't want to lose all of the previous data. Just reactivate them, it will all still be there. Those were the 2 frequent questions we've been getting just around team management. If anyone has any other questions, please feel free to send them into our chat. We'll just pause here for a second to see if any other questions come in. If you guys don't have questions right now, that's totally fine. We did go over a lot of information, so you need a little time to digest and have questions come later. You can always write into our support chat or email us at support@bridgeathletic.com.
Yeah, awesome. We'll just we'll give it a second here to see if anyone has any other questions before we close out. And
we also recorded this session, so we will be sending it out in an email, so you always will be able to refer back to it. And as Ryan mentioned, we record each webinar session, so our previous ones can be found on our YouTube page. And they're in a webinar playlist, so you can just go through the last couple that we've done and find some really great information in there.
Yeah, Drew, thanks for hopping on. We appreciate it.
It looks
All right,
like
guys.
Questions. Great. So I think we'll wrap it up here. If any questions do come up, again, feel free to send them into our support. Ryan, thanks for taking us through all of this great info on managing teams.
Yeah, Lauren, thanks for your help. We'll see you guys soon.